Ever since I was a small child, I used to question things. I used to ask why. When my inner alarm went off, I didn't ignore it. Most of the other children, my fellow peers, they just got along with stuff. Well, that's just the way it is. That's what grown-ups expect from you. But even then, as a child, I realized you can't just get along just because an older individual tells you to do something. And this is what I've learned from an early age. The world is a hierarchy of narcissistic violence. That's what the world is. When I became older, I got the words to explain what it was. And this hierarchy of narcissistic violence can only remain in existence when there are victims to dump the violence on. And this dumping can only continue when you have people that adhere to the dumping. So they need people to agree with society. And that is what society does to you when you're a child. They deform you to agree with the collective expectations or the status quo. And there are parents who are sellouts to the system, and they force their kids to comply with the expectations of society, whatever society they're in. And the only thing they can use against you when you're a kid is physical death. Because you're a child and you don't have many options physically, they can use the threat of violence or the fear of death they can use against you. The only thing they can do is threaten to kill your body or kill your body. That's the only thing they can do. Or they can torture the body. But they can't resurrect you. They can't do any of that. The moment you grow up and you forfeit the status quo, what can society do? There's nothing they can do. And this backfires on them. And they're embarrassed when this happens. So now they want to lash out against you for disturbing their relief. Because the peace of mind of world people comes from relief seeking. And the moment you disturb the collective relief seeking, they're going to blame you for their anxieties. They're going to blame you for all their problems. Suddenly everything is your fault. Haven't you noticed that sometimes, let's say you live in a neighborhood, and you have neighbors who are complaining about you. Without you being aware of it, within a month, everyone's complaining about you. Even people who never met you. So now you have a whole demonic contention against you. What is that? Common folks want relief. They want to get along. They don't want getting along, but they want to get along at everyone's expense. They don't want to get along in justice, in righteousness. They want to get along in the relief seeking. That's what world people do. And the moment you become the target, they expect you to bend over and take all their abuse and all their mistreatment so they are relieved. And they don't want to hear any complaints about what they did to you, and they want you to give the best onto them. So they want the right to abuse you and mistreat you and dump their rubbish and their trash on you, and at the same time they want the best of you. And they don't want to hear anything. They want to be praised and loved despite how bad or ugly they treat you. That's what the status quo stands for. And the moment you say no to it, or the moment you shake that dust from your feet, they can't handle it. Now something bad needs to happen to you, because if you survive and you're a testimony to have shaken the dust off your feet against them, it's going to backfire on them and on all the investments they have in that system. That's how the world is. Even as a child, I didn't know all the complex dynamics, but I realized this doesn't add up. There are folks who are just cowards who don't admit it doesn't add up, and they end up being the fierce supporters of the status quo. Though there's nothing wrong with wanting to get along with others. There's nothing wrong with putting up with what others are doing, if there is no danger. If there is no danger, you can put up with anything and with anyone. But the moment there is danger, you should say no. The moment there is danger, collectively or individually, people should say, that goes too far. But the status quo is like this. You're never allowed to say no or to refuse the status quo. The moment you do, you need to die. And if you don't die, there's a crisis. And now they're going to look for other victims to dump the crisis on. That's the world. Is that what you want to be part of? Is that what you want to be proud of? You want to be proud of being part of something like that? Are you out of your mind? Well, that's it for now. Keep agreeing with Christ and be at peace.